My husband confessed he's been secretly supporting his sick child with his ex for years. I said, we'll get through this, then hired a PI and discovered his child is his new girlfriend and his ex is her accomplice. I'm still reeling from everything that's happened this week. I feel like I've been living in a completely different reality for the past 5 years. Original post. I, 34F, have been married to Mark, 36M, for 5 years, together for 7. We met through mutual friends, fell in love, and built what I thought was a solid life. We both have stable careers. I'm a marketing manager, he's a software engineer, and we've been saving diligently for a down payment on our dream home. Or so I thought. For the past year or so, Mark has been acting off. Stressed, secretive with his phone, constantly worried about money even though our combined income is good. Our savings account, which used to grow steadily, seemed to be stagnant, sometimes even shrinking. He'd brush it off, saying the market was bad or he had some unexpected expenses. I trusted him. Last Tuesday, Mark came home from work looking utterly defeated. He sat me down and confessed. He told me that years ago, before we met, he had a brief relationship with a woman named Lisa. They broke up, but a few months later, Lisa contacted him to say she was pregnant. He was shocked, but said he wanted to be involved. He said Lisa moved away and never asked for child support, but kept him updated on their daughter, Chloe. Then, about 3 years ago, Lisa called him with devastating news. Chloe, who was then 20, had been diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. The treatments were experimental and incredibly expensive. Mark said he'd been secretly sending money to Lisa for Chloe's medical bills and living expenses ever since. He was ashamed he hadn't told me, but he felt a moral obligation to his child. He broke down, crying, saying he drained our savings, taken out loans in his name, and was deeply in debt, all to save his daughter. My world shattered. I was devastated by the betrayal, the secrecy, the fact that he had a child he never told me about. But a part of me also felt immense sympathy for him, for Chloe, for the impossible situation he was in. I cried with him, hugged him, and told him we would get through this together. We'd figure it out. We'd help Chloe. He seemed relieved, almost euphoric, that I was so understanding. He started talking about how we could sell some investments, maybe put off the house for a few more years. He mentioned Chloe needed a new, very specific medical device that cost $30,000, and he was worried about how to get it. As I listened, a tiny voice in the back of my head started whispering. Something didn't quite add up. If Chloe was 23 years ago, she'd be 23 now. Why was she still living with her mom and not working? Why did Lisa never ask for official child support? And why did Mark have to send money secretly? If it was his child, why couldn't we discuss it openly? The numbers he quoted for medical expenses seemed astronomical, even for a rare disease. I told Mark I wanted to help. I suggested we look into financial aid programs for rare diseases, maybe charities, or even get a second opinion on Chloe's treatment plan. He became strangely evasive, saying Lisa preferred to keep things private and didn't want any strangers involved. That's when I made a decision. I told Mark I'd handle the research into financial aid so he could focus on work. What I actually did was call a private investigator I found through a discreet online search. I gave him Lisa's name and approximate location based on what Mark had told me and asked him to find out everything he could about Chloe and her medical condition. I felt like a terrible person, but my gut was screaming. 3 days later, the PI called me. What he told me sent shivers down my spine. Chloe is indeed 23. She is not Mark's daughter. She is Mark's girlfriend. And Lisa is not Mark's ex-girlfriend. She's Chloe's older sister. Chloe has no rare disease. She has no disease at all. The PI sent me photos. Chloe and Lisa living in a luxury apartment building, driving brand new cars, wearing designer clothes, and taking lavish vacations. Photos of Mark with Chloe, holding hands, kissing, looking very much like a couple, not father and his sick child. One photo showed Mark giving Chloe a very expensive-looking diamond tennis bracelet. The date on that photo was last month. My husband has been living a double life for years. He wasn't secretly supporting his sick child. He was secretly supporting his new girlfriend and her sister, funding their lavish lifestyle with our money, with my money. I'm sitting here staring at the photos. The man I married, the man I cried with, the man I was ready to sacrifice our future for is a monster. He looked me in the eye and spun a tale of heartbreaking illness and fatherly guilt, all to cover up his affair and his financial drain on our marriage. I feel physically ill. I don't know what to do. I haven't confronted him yet. I just needed to get this out. Am I going insane? Is this real? How could I have been so blind? Update 1, 2 days later. Thank you all for the overwhelming support and validating my sanity. I read every single comment, and they gave me the strength to act. I didn't confront Mark immediately. I spent yesterday meticulously gathering every piece of financial evidence I could find. I accessed our joint bank accounts, credit card statements, investment portfolios, and even found loan documents in his name that I didn't know about. The PI's report was invaluable in showing me where the money went and how it was laundered through various accounts and shell companies set up by Lisa. It's clear they've been doing this for a while, and they're good at it. Mark isn't just a victim here, he's a willing participant, probably blinded by love or lust for Chloe. The total amount he siphoned off? Over $300,000. Our entire house down payment gone. My retirement savings severely impacted. My entire future jeopardized by his monstrous deception. This morning, I had a meeting with a top divorce attorney specializing in financial fraud. She was horrified by what she saw. She immediately advised me to freeze all joint assets that I could access, change passwords, and open new accounts in my name only. She also advised me to contact the police, as this isn't just infidelity, it's potentially criminal fraud. She believes Mark, Lisa, and Chloe could face charges for conspiracy and theft. When I got home, Mark was there. He noticed I was quieter than usual. He tried to be affectionate, but I recoiled. I told him I needed to talk. I sat him down and calmly placed the PI's report, the photos, and the financial statements on the coffee table. His face drained of color as he saw the evidence. "What is this?" he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "This," I said, pointing to a photo of him kissing Chloe, "is not your sick daughter. This is your girlfriend. And this," I pointed to Lisa's lavish apartment, "is not your ex-girlfriend. This is her sister, your accomplice. You have been systematically draining our life savings to fund your affair and their lavish lifestyle, all while lying to me about a dying child." He tried to deny it, then he tried to gaslight me, saying I was making things up or that the photos were out of context. When that didn't work, he broke down, sobbing, begging for forgiveness. He claimed Chloe manipulated him, that Lisa pressured him, that he got caught up in something he couldn't escape. He swore he loved me, that it was a mistake, that he'd end it all now. I just stared at him. You wanted to put off our dream home for years. You wanted to drain my retirement. You looked me in the eye and cried about a child who doesn't exist. You are a disgusting, pathetic liar, and I want you out of my house. He tried to grab my arm, but I pulled away. "Get out, Mark. Now, or I call the police." He finally left, taking only a small bag. He's been blowing up my phone with texts and calls ranging from desperate apologies to threats, saying I'll regret this, that I'm overreacting, that he'll expose me. I've blocked him on everything. I also sent a text to Lisa and Chloe from an anonymous burner phone, just 2 words, "Game over." My family and friends are in shock. My sister came over immediately and has been my rock. My parents are furious and heartbroken. They never liked Mark, but trusted my judgment. I've changed the locks. Tomorrow, the attorney is sending him formal divorce papers and a cease and desist. We're pursuing every legal avenue to recover the stolen money. My lawyer thinks we have a strong case, especially with the clear evidence of fraud. I'm exhausted, but also filled with a strange sense of clarity. The fog has lifted. The man I loved was a phantom. The reality is painful, but at least it's real. This is going to be a long fight, but I'm ready. I refuse to let him get away with this. Update 3 weeks later. It's been a whirlwind 3 weeks. The legal wheels are turning, and the truth is slowly coming out. Mark tried back. He hired a cheap lawyer and tried to get back into the house, claiming I wrongfully evicted him. My attorney shut that down immediately with the PI's report and a police report I filed for fraud. The police are now investigating the financial scam aspect, not just the affair. This is a criminal matter, not just a divorce. Turns out Mark isn't the mastermind, but he's not entirely innocent either. He was indeed manipulated, but he was also a willing participant in the fraud from the start, blinded by Chloe's charm and the lavish lifestyle she and Lisa promised. He had been having an affair with Chloe for about 6 months before they cooked up the sick child story. Chloe and Lisa are professional scammers, and Mark was their latest, most lucrative mark. They've allegedly pulled similar stunts on other men before. Lisa and Chloe have vanished. The PI can't find them, and their luxury apartment is empty. My attorney thinks they fled the state, possibly the country, after my game over text and the police investigation started. This complicates recovering the money, but the police are working with federal agencies as it might be a multi-state fraud ring. Mark is panicking. He's realized the depth of the hole he's dug for himself. He's lost his job. Word spread fast in the tech community, especially after the police showed up at his office. His family is disowning him. His parents called me, sobbing, apologizing for his behavior and saying they had no idea. They're ashamed. My lawyer is pushing for an expedited divorce based on marital fraud. We're seeking punitive damages beyond the stolen money, while recovering the full $300,000 might be difficult if Lisa and Chloe aren't found. We're going after Mark's remaining assets, his future earnings, and even his 401k. My lawyer says we have a very strong case. The emotional toll has been immense. I have moments of pure rage, moments of profound sadness, and moments of disbelief. I've started therapy, and it's helping me process the betrayal and the grief for the future I thought I had. My therapist said it's like mourning a death, but also mourning the person you thought you married. One unexpected side effect, I've connected with a few other women who were also scammed by Lisa and Chloe. They found me through the Pies network and through whispers in certain online communities. Turns out these two have a history. They target men in stable relationships or marriages, extract money with elaborate stories, sick relative, business venture, etc., then disappear. It's a support group I never wanted to be part of, but it's helping. We're sharing information and working together with law enforcement. Mark tried to contact me through a friend of ours, begging me to drop the charges, saying he'll pay me back, that he's learned his lesson. I told the friend to tell him I'd see him in court. There's no coming back from this. He didn't just cheat, he actively defrauded me, stole my future, and used a fake sick child to do it. That's unforgivable. I'm focusing on myself now. My job has been incredibly supportive. My friends and family are rallying around me. I'm rebuilding my financial life one step at a time. The house dream is on hold, but my future is not. I'm no longer just angry. I'm determined. Determined to get justice, determined to heal, and determined to build a life free from deception. Final update 3 months later. The divorce is final. Mark is officially my ex-husband, and I can finally close this chapter. The final divorce decree was harsh for Mark, but entirely deserved. The judge ruled heavily in my favor, citing the extensive evidence of fraud. Mark was ordered to pay back the full $300,000 plus significant punitive damages. He lost almost everything. His remaining savings, his car, and a significant portion of his future earnings will be garnished until the debt is paid. He's living with his parents, jobless, and facing potential criminal charges if Lisa and Chloe are ever caught. Speaking of Lisa and Chloe, they were apprehended crossing the border into Mexico a month ago. They'd been living under assumed names. The combined efforts of my PI, the local police, and the federal agencies they'd defrauded in other states led to their capture. They're currently awaiting trial, facing multiple counts of fraud, conspiracy, and identity theft. My lawyer says it's unlikely I'll recover all the money directly from them, but Mark is still on the hook for the full amount. Mark tried to blame everything on them during the divorce proceedings, portraying himself as a naive victim. The judge was not swayed. My lawyer presented compelling evidence that Mark was a willing participant in the scheme, actively facilitating the movement of funds and fabricating stories. He chose to betray me. The emotional healing has been a journey. Therapy has been invaluable. I've learned that it's okay to grieve the loss of the relationship and the future I envisioned, even when the person was a monster. It's okay to feel angry, sad, and everything in between. The support group with the other victims of Lisa and Chloe has also been incredibly helpful. We're planning a collective civil suit against them once their criminal trial concludes. I've decided to sell our apartment. It holds too many painful memories. I'm using the proceeds to pay off my debts and make a fresh start. I've also invested in myself, enrolled in a leadership program at work, started taking kickboxing classes, and planning a solo trip to Italy next year. I'm not dating yet, and I'm in no rush. I need to rebuild my trust in people and, more importantly, in my own judgment. But I'm no longer the naive woman who was willing to sacrifice everything for a lie. I'm stronger, wiser, and more resilient than I ever thought possible. Mark sent me a final, desperate email after the divorce was finalized, begging me for mercy. He said I ruined his life. I replied with a single sentence, "You ruined your own life the day you chose to lie to me about a sick child to fund your affair. I chose to get justice." Then I blocked him for good. This experience was devastating, but it also forced me to confront uncomfortable truths and find a strength I didn't know I possessed. I lost a husband, but I gained my self-respect and a clearer vision for my future. To anyone out there dealing with betrayal and deception, trust your gut, gather your evidence, get a good lawyer, and never let anyone steal your future from you. You are worth fighting for. I'm closing this chapter now. It's time to build a new, honest, and truly prosperous life for myself. And this time, I'll be the one writing the story.